The guy that was late today, Art? Huh? You must have been recovering today from a miraculous process that you've gone through, and we're glad to have you.
Well, thanks.
Go ahead.
So, I was going to ask the first question.
Well, hold on. Let me say this. All jokes aside, it's really great to have you back. And, people hear your voice. They see our players play. They see us on the sidelines. But we're people too, and we have relationships. And you and I have a great relationship. And I can remember coming over on an afternoon where things were not looking good. But your resiliency, all the prayers, the grace of God really has allowed for you to be here today. And we should not take for granted that you're back, all right? All jokes aside.
Yeah, we should not take it for granted any day.
Yep. Love you. Love you. Yep.
Well, so do you have the starting five?
Well, now that we got that out of the way. No. Yes, right? We know who we would start if we played today. It helps with having so many guys back that started last year. To be honest, we feel like we have about 7 starters. Whether NJ or Cesar starts, whether Mayo or Matthew starts, whether Austin or Chance starts. So we really feel like we know who would definitely start a game for us. And I don't think there's any surprise, right? Clay would be out there and one of those other guys that I mentioned as well.
Yeah.
So you named all these different names, who would be
all right, if we went today, Matthew Lee's out there, he starts, Austin starts, Chance starts, Donnie starts, and probably NJ. So, but Cesar's going to play starter minutes, and Mayo's definitely going to play starter. Mayo may play more than all of them, but he just may not start.
What was it that impressed you the most about Damian Mayo last year, and what has his growth been like in the offseason? Because there were definitely moments last season, Coach, where I thought there were nights you couldn't afford to not have him on the floor because he does a little bit of everything.
Right. I think the first thing that impressed us the most was his leadership qualities, even as a freshman. Being a part of that group where we brought in so many new guys from day one, he really never felt like he had to wait on other people in order to impact. And it's not easy being a freshman on a team full of guys and juniors and seniors, trying to navigate, find your way. Even through some inconsistent opportunities early, he continued to work hard and became a starter by the end of the year. And like I mentioned, depending on the game, depending on the opponent, the flow of the season, he's definitely a starter and going to play a lot of minutes.
Does Chance have a chance to be the go-to guy this year? Or do you need one guy you can look to be the go-to guy?
Are you supposed to use the same word in one sentence? Did they teach you guys that? No. Chance, in my opinion, is definitely a go-to caliber player. If we want to be better than what we are projected to be, okay? So in our practices, in our locker room, yeah, he's a go-to guy. And last year was his first year playing. And he made game-winning shots. I think it was at home against UIC. He made 3 big-time shots at Evansville. And really, that's his true freshman season. So part of our job, when you have guys as talented as Chance, is to develop them, bring them along, right, have them take steps. And he's definitely taken some steps in regards to his approach to defense, his approach to doing what we ask. And so we're counting on him to be a go-to player for sure.
I thought it was interesting the other day how much the guys love Tyler Bay's game. Just what have you seen in him to where he can be an impact guy year one?
Well, everybody loves a score, and Tyler can score. So that's why his teammates like him. I want to love him. and I love defense. So Tyler's got to get going on the defensive end. But he's talented. He's easy to like. He makes the game look easy. He's 6'9". Potentially by the end of his career, he can play 1 through 4. Really good ball skills, great shooting stroke, really nice passer. But you know, he's a freshman, and so the process for him to help us right now, he's got to learn how to value practice more, which he's gotten better. But hopefully, come conference season, he's really figured out what it takes to impact games at this level, because he's definitely talented enough.
You have your core back from a year ago. Was there a lot of work? Was it hard to keep that core together in the world that basketball lives in now with the transfer portal and guys moving in and out, or was it easy? Were they committed from the moment last season ended?
Nothing's easy. I mean, anything worth having is going to be hard. And so we feel like all the guys we returned are worth having. And it was our hope to return everyone. You know, we did not want anyone to leave. But in today's landscape, I believe we lost 3 outside of graduation. And that's not a bad number. And we were fortunate enough to not lose, you know, one of the guys that we have returning, whether that be Austin, Donnie, Chance. When you talk about our core, even Mayo and NJ, those guys have options as well. And so it was hard, and we did what you have to do in today's landscape. We tried to take care of our players the best we could. We feel like we do a great job developing relationships, and fortunately for us, they feel like they want to be here, and that's really half the battle in today's world, because they have some choices they can make, and these guys chose Missouri State again, so that's good.
You make reference to making sure they're taken care of. NIL, I assume you're talking there, or just what kind of steps did you have to take that maybe you haven't had to do in previous seasons?
I mean, it's not just NIL. I do think that most student athletes today are getting some form of NIL, but you know, talking about your plans for them and how they fit in the next year, and how you can develop them or help them reach their goals, or what type of changes they would like to see, what type of people they would like to see brought in to help get us to the next level. I mean, there's a lot of things. But again, more importantly, I think them choosing us is the most important thing, as opposed to anything that me or my staff did. That just them choosing Missouri State, which is a great place to play.
Coach, how many players have bought into your style of defense this year? I know you've had every year, there's been a couple guys that just haven't totally bought in.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the guys that don't buy in, I don't know if they're doing it because, you know, they don't want to. Sometimes it's just not easy. But we do have some anchors, Donnie, Mayo, Davion. NJ Benson's defense has gotten a lot better. Guys like Rafe that just understand positioning, things like that. Austin Mason has become a better defender. Even Chance has been better. But you know, for the new guys, I think Cesar is still adjusting to the fact that now he's probably going to play meaningful minutes. Tyler's adjusting to Division I. And so other than that, Nick hasn't had an opportunity to show it, but I would imagine he will. So for the most part, you know, the defense has been a very promising part of our preseason prep, because we spent more time working on our offense, but our defense is actually not bad for this time of year.
We've got just over 5 minutes left in this segment, so let's go to the back room for questions you guys might have.
Coach, they picked 6th in the preseason poll. How does that sit with you, with these guys coming back? Does that get you guys motivated a little bit to prove better than that, obviously?
Maybe the players, you know, maybe they feel a little slighted. I'm not sure. Me, I mean, I'm no different than any other coach. I'm not going to put too much stock in that. We have a great league, and you know, we'll compete just like we have been. That there's not one team in this league that I don't feel like we can beat whenever we take the floor. But I think we need to be a little bit more focused on our opening scrimmage next weekend. And we've got, I believe, 11 games, or at least 5 or 6 before we even get to a conference opponent. So we just kind of need to be present in the moment and not look too far down the road in regards to the conference race. A lot can change between now and then. You look at our team last year, we had Matthew Lee going in, and then by the time league play came, there was no Matthew Lee. So, congratulations to whoever is fired up and happy about their preseason ranking. Best wishes.
Talk about the difference between this time now and this time last year when you only had a couple returners. What's the difference between having a bunch of new guys that you're trying to assimilate and now you're building on what you had last year?
Well, culture is such a overused word, and so I don't want to use that word, but I do want to say that our environment has stayed the same. And the reason it has is because we have so many returners, and so we're not having to teach a lot of the things that we spent a lot of time last year teaching. And when you think about the amount of newcomers that we had last year, our style of play defensively especially changed. It was the first time that we didn't have a team with Gage Prim out there, so we were way more active and aggressive defensively, especially in the half court. It was the first time that we didn't have a guy like Isaiah Mosley where you just give him the ball and get out of the way. So some things that we tried to do offensively were different. But with this team, with the connection with last year's team through the returners and then adding what we felt like we needed to be better at whatever it is we decide to do, we just haven't had to teach as much. And we've hired a few new coaches, and even today in one of our meetings, Coach was talking about how he's not even telling guys to do certain things and they're already doing it. And that's kind of where you see the impact of having those guys come back. And as well as off the court. We have 0 distractions, and we always have had minimal distractions, but right now we have 0 because guys, they understand the expectation, and that allows for us to coach basketball.
Do you expect to do the hotel thing this year?
Yeah, I think that goes along with the preseason ranking. It's so far away. We would only do it for conference, and so our deal was if and when we were still in the hunt to win, we would stay in a hotel, right? So anytime we fell out of the race, then obviously we cut the cord on that. So hopefully come mid-December or whenever that first game is, late November now or something crazy, early December, we'll do that, and then we'll just carry that as long as we're in the race.
Saw your team socials teasing NBA people being through. Just as I know Donovan's been talked about in the past, is Chance getting those looks? Just what anybody specific they're looking at?
Sometimes those guys come through. They're just doing swings of all colleges. We've got about 3 or 4 guys that people reach out to us about, and then once they come here, they may see some other guys. So that's common. That's common for colleges this time of year to get NBA scouts in, and you may find a little diamond in the rough. So, but nothing out of the norm.
MSU hired a mental health professional here recently. Just I know that's something that you've thought of with the kids here. Just your reaction to MSU taking some needed steps in that space.
Well, it's definitely a great addition to our staff. Mental health is real. Everybody's different, and for our administration to show that area needs someone that's accessible to our student athletes, I think that goes a long way. I mean, I think it not only shows that Missouri State is committed to its student athletes, like what they can do on the floor, on the field, court, whatever the case may be, but also committed to them off the floor, and that is probably more important than anything they can accomplish on it. Although we put a lot of stock in what they can do on it, most of our guys need to be worried about developing off the floor.